Good morning on this flat grey morning where the sky is all the same colour, grey. I am in a Volvo XC60. Now it's no ordinary one, it is the Volvo Ocean Race spec. Now as you might know, Volvo sponsored this massively big yacht race that goes right around the world and actually stops in Ireland. When they sponsor it, of course, they put their name everywhere. You can't go anywhere to any yacht club in the world, but you'll find Volvo Ocean Race written there. And it's also written all over this car. And realistically, that's really all the Volvo Ocean Race spec gets, is a lot of trinkets, bits in the boot. The boot cover, for instance, has a rope on it, and the cover comes back and has Volvo Ocean Race written on it. When you open the doors, it's written on the bottom of the sills as well, Volvo Ocean Race. Actually, when you turn on the car, the little screen in the middle says Volvo Ocean Race. Not that I'm opposed to any of that. I think branding is very important for a car company, especially a car company that is, well, to some degree overlooked in this country, and I don't know why. I've yet to have a bad Volvo when I go driving. I had the S60 last year. I drove the XC90, which is a little bit old now, needs updating. I've had the V50. I was in Geneva last week and I seen the new V40. It's very handsome, very pretty car. Volvo have a good lineup at the moment, and I really like this Volvo XC60. Now, this is a D3 spec. I don't know what that winds up being in your country, but over here that means you're kind of middle of the range. And it's powered by the most superbly sounding 2-litre diesel engine. Now, it's a 5-cylinder, so that's why it sounds so nice. And it sounds brilliant, absolutely gorgeous. The Volvo Ocean Race XC60, or the XC60, gets the most handsome centre console. I don't like these line things that are on it. I know they're meant to be sort of navigation points, but when I got in first I thought they were scratches. I don't like them. But I do love this thing in the centre here that has the little man on it and the 4 buttons around the edges. I think the screen could do being a little bit bigger in the middle. It's a bit small and there's a lot of information on it. You know, there's the temperature of the car, and there's a climate control settings, there's all your radio settings, and you know, time and phone and all that stuff is all there. I really like that the 2 dials that are there, very bright, very clear, and I love the little floating needles in both dials. The little needle doesn't appear to be attached to anything, it just sits there moving up and down very slowly. This one is a 4-wheel drive, or rather all-wheel drive as they say in the back, AWD. And you'd know it too, because Volvo have made a bold claim recently. They say by 2020 no one's going to die in a Volvo. Okay? Means if you're in the car and you crash, you won't die. That's so say Volvo. That's what they're after. That's a pretty bold claim, since they have no idea what kind of crashes their cars are going to be in. I mean, no matter what your car is, in a Volvo, if you hit head on into an articulated 40-foot truck, your chances of surviving are getting pretty slim at that stage. Now, they also very recently released a first ever exterior deployable airbag. We've had bonnets that pop up, so when it hits something, the bonnet actually pops up to try and cushion the head of the pedestrian you're hitting. This will actually deploy an airbag out of the front of the car, so their head hits an airbag. So maybe they're after the fact that they won't have anyone die in their car, nor will their cars kill anyone. Maybe. They still feel very well put together. Brilliant choice of materials around the edges. I do like the sloping dash. I absolutely love this sort of a question mark thing here. It's like the ridders on both sides. Beautiful. Seats look gorgeous, but they don't hug you at all. They don't. You just swim about in the seat itself. Now, they're insanely comfortable. I won't give out about their comfort, and they look gorgeous, especially the Volvo Ocean Race little tag stitched into the leather. But there's no side support really in them at all, which means, and these kind of cars tend to body roll a lot more than say a saloon does. which means you kind of fall out of your seat quite regularly. And I have a roundabout here right in front of me, so we're going to give it a go. Right, here we go. Now I'm already swimming over to one side, now I'm swimming over to the other side, and I'm really swimming over to the other side, and the passenger is worse off. Passenger is not, at least I have a steering wheel to hold on to. Passenger is nothing to hold on to. They really could do with hugging you a lot more on the side. There's no support there. Even though they look bulky on the side, they only hold you at hip height, not at kind of rib cage height up here. And I feel a little perched on top of the seat rather than I'm sitting in the seat. I feel like I'm sitting on top of the seat. And this seat's actually at its lowest setting. I can't go any lower in where it is. But one trick in the Volvo's arsenal is the suspension system. This thing will cross Africa because there's a lot of travel. I'm still falling over in the bloody roundabouts. There's a lot of travel in each of the wheels, and the ground clearance is very good, which means that this will actually go off-road. Pretty good too. For some reason, Volvo have managed to make the most superb motorway cruiser. That engine, that's how good. The motorway cruising factor of this car is brilliant. It is silent. I'm at 120. It's silent. I had the most perfect little cruise control right there. It tells me exactly what I've just set my cruise control to. I can take my feet off everything now. It's so quiet. So the Volvo XC60 is a mixture of cars. It is a very good, to all intents and purposes, very good off-roader, but yet it's absolutely brilliant on a motorway. The steering is a little bit overly light, and the seats don't hug you enough. And after that, everything else is brilliant. I absolutely love the sound of that engine. That engine sounds brilliant. I'm dead impressed with that. That engine sounds brilliant. That 5-cylinder engine, really, they're really good. 166 brake horsepower. Feels like a lot more because there's about 400 newton meters of torque, but it does feel like a lot more. Quick tip, make a very good towing car in this. Very good. Lots of torque. It has a good bit of horsepower, but it's got a smaller engine and it's high up on the road. Very good towing car for you caravaner type people out there. You'll like this. Now, I'm going back to my MP3s. See you later.